Hello and welcome. I am Pravin Shekar, your outlier marketer, and this is the start of a new series called Standing Out in 60 Seconds. What is standing out? It's not about being loud, it's not just about personal branding, and it's definitely not about chasing attention. Standing out is being recognizable in the moments that matter. When a decision is made, when a name is being recalled, if people cannot describe you or think about you clearly, you don't stand in, you just blend in and are invisible. And being invisible today is irresponsible. That's what this series is about. Standing out is no longer a choice. And today, we have the pleasure of welcoming Nandita Pandey, somebody whom I've known for over a decade, a multiple book author, an executive presence coach, a professional speaker, a phenomenal traveler, and a very good person for me to bounce ideas off. So, welcome, Nandita, to the show.
Thank you so much, Praveen, for hosting me onto this show. It's a delight to have a conversation with you at any point of time, honestly.
And you did have quite a journey to make it to our 3 o'clock slot. Four,
Yes,
five flights, and you finally managed to come into Chennai.
absolutely. So, yeah, so I'm also a victim of the airline fiasco that's happening these days. So, yeah, but let's put that behind us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good. So, in your words, when
yeah.
someone says image, what are they referring to, Nandita?
So, Praveen, I'll ask you a counter question before I answer that.
Yeah,
What do people mean when they say image, or what is supposed to be meant when somebody talks about image? They're very
okay.
different things in my head.
Give us both because right now your question is absolutely pertinent because
Huh.
what people think the minute they think image, there's something negative, there are some other connotations that they have. So go ahead and dispel the myth for us and then tell us what it should be.
Okay, so when people say image, they typically think of the way you dress, the way you talk, and the way you walk. And it's more about fashion, it's more about, dressing up, right? However, image is not about that alone.
Hmm.
Image is basically understanding who you really want to be, what is it that you want to project to the world outside. And I'll use a very simple example. It's basically adjectives that we learned in school.
Ah.
So I'm simplifying it. It's the adjectives that you want people to say about you are is your appearance, is your communication, is the way you're visually being perceived. Is that aligning is image? Is the vision that you have for yourself, is that aligning with the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you present yourself? That actually is image. But people think wearing fancy clothes, fashion statements is image. So that is where I get a little uncomfortable, honestly.
Yes, but that is 101. That's where people start because that's probably the easiest to
Yeah.
work with, Nandita. But in today's world where we live in,
Mhm.
whether it's digital or outside, there is a
Yeah.
need for senior leaders, for founders to stand out. But yet, there are some common misunderstandings or misgivings or some hesitation that comes through. And since you've been involved, with a lot of these founders and senior leaders, what are these misgivings? What are these hesitations when it comes to handling and sculpting my own image?
Okay, so I'll go back to the way we were raised, Praveen. Okay, so somewhere in my childhood, and I'm sure it was not different for any of us in India, we were always told, "Let your work speak for itself." Dressing is secondary. What matters is your intellect. What matters is the work. And if you speak about what you're doing, somewhere you're bragging, it's not seen right. And of course, the very popular Indian word called drishti or nazar. So, you don't talk, you don't do till the time it is done. But the problem today is, or the challenge is, there's so much noise around you, right? How do you identify the good from the bad, the good from the better, or the best, right? So somewhere you need to go out and talk about some of the things, your achievements, what you are, what you've done. And that is the biggest problem most people in India have. Like recently I was in a workshop for the last 2 days for women leaders, and their concern was, but we are doing good work, why do I need to even go and project and have a brand? So the idea is it's extremely important for you to stand out. And I personally feel if you're really good at something and you can contribute and give back to the not only society but to the people around you, and if you're not doing that, it's a very big it's a this thing for yourself. It's not right because at the end of the day, if you are good at something, it becomes your moral responsibility to share it with others.
Beautifully put. So I have a creativity bouncing coach, and his words, and I'm paraphrasing Nandita, that whichever power you believe in has given you the intellect and the action to go ahead and get a job done really well. And it is our
Hmm.
job to use that to inspire a lot of people. And when it is our
Absolutely.
image that we sculpt, then the work,
Hmm.
yes, work alone is enough, but in today's world, it's not enough. We need
It's not.
have the good practices spread out to talk and get things through. As you said, Nandita, the culture, it took me years to get out of this culture mold of trying to conform, trying to be, to put on the tie, to put on whatever it is, because whether you like it or not, well, you're an author who's written dressology, so you know more about it than I do. Um, in terms of conforming, that the culture becomes a huge aspect, but
Yeah.
also the people you surround yourself with are responsible for your image, and sometimes we fall prey to this particular image that we have not been sculpted to. And the example that I normally ask is, you have the star Vijay and you have the actor Vijay Sethupathi. You have the star Shah Rukh and you have the actor Manoj Bajpayee. The image is different. That of a star, then you cannot do certain things. But if you expand yourself as an actor, as a performer, the scope of what you are being perceived with or of is definitely that much more. What stops these senior leaders apart from culture? I mean, there are half steps. I want to be like that person. I want to have an image, but I don't want to do the hard work or cut through. And what is your thought there, Nandita?
Okay, so again, having done a lot of research on this topic from a leadership perspective in corporate or even otherwise, somewhere the hesitation is we don't give it enough value. Again, so I think I've done a good job. People know about it. I have people who are following me. I have people who I've inspired. So why do I need to make that effort? So somewhere it's taken as very frivolous to talk about it. It's not only a culture issue. And if you look at the West, Praveen, and I draw comparisons here, executive presence and branding are a critical component for leadership there.
Absolutely, yes.
Here in India, when you talk about it, they say, no, our leaders are good in executing, they're good in delivering results. Absolutely. That is the reason India is where it is today. Having said that, if we want to generate the next level of leadership, if we want to stand out and compete with the world leaders, we need not only have substance here and results, we also need them to look up to us and feel inspired by us. And that is
Oh,
where branding and executive presence plays an extremely important role.
what a
So I
beautiful
need to
way to
inspire
put it.
not only people here, but even outside.
Oh, you put it up so beautifully that in the West, which is whom we look up to, all the books are about examples there, the playbooks that we copy are from there. But there, the executive presence is part of R&R. It's a part of your roles and responsibilities, that you do
Absolutely.
not get promoted just because you have experience, but do you have executive presence? Are you a magnet attracting people, not by lies and falsity, but by the image that is part and parcel of the good work that you have been consistently doing? What a beauty! What a beauty! That
Also, Praveen,
yes,
adding on, if you look at leadership today per se, gone are the days when we were hierarchical. Today, it's all about influence. Any leader,
yes,
if he is not influential, he's not seen as a leader. He doesn't become an inspiration to people around them. And you cannot dictate just because you're sitting on a chair or a particular role. So the more impact you can create as a leader is by having that presence and people wanting to learn from you, unlearn from you, and grow with you. So that is why executive presence is such a critical component today.
oh, beautiful! Because that's the standard quote, isn't it, Nandita? That people don't leave a company; they leave the manager, they leave the
Absolutely.
boss. And if the leader has influence, has impact, well, he or she can also become the attraction magnet from a HR perspective. pulling people
Absolutely.
together and coming through. Wow, nice. Now, because you touched on the newer generation, I'm not stepping into the Gen Z part of it yet, Nandita. That's a separate 20-minute talk that you and I are going to have, maybe the next quarter or something. Uh,
Sure.
Even your progression as
Hmm.
an or as a professional speaker, how much has image helped you?
So, honestly, Praveen, it was all about image for me. Initially, very honestly, like you said, I believed my work will speak for itself, right? But you do realize that there are people who are not giving. I'm not saying I'm extraordinarily good, but there is a certain value that I bring out into the system. It could be in the space of public speaking, it could be in the space of the kind of work that I'm doing. And if I'm not able to make it reach to people, I'm doing injustice, I strongly believe. So what happened was, initially I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. But slowly, as I progressed in life, I realized that your perception becomes your reality for other people.
Ooh,
And
yes.
if they don't see you there, they will never even want you there. Right. So over a period of time, I started very consciously working on very simple concepts. What am I putting out? Not only on digital platforms, but even in an interaction. And putting
Oh,
out is not only in terms of attire and the colors that I'm wearing, but even in the terms of thoughts that I'm putting out, because that is thought leadership today. And that's also part of my image. So what do I want to be remembered as? Am I doing everything in all 360-degree aspects to ensure that my online and offline image meet? So when somebody sees a Nandita tomorrow and they see me here on in a chat with you, do they see two different peoples? Because authenticity is the key, consistency is the key for us. So I really focus on that, and I don't pretend to be someone else right now. I know I love having fun, and you are the same. So I you can see me anywhere and you will see the
yes.
same thing. You would not see a serious Nandita ever. So I consciously look at what is it that I want to do, and I'm very, very aware of, am I projecting it consistently? And it becomes easy because I don't have to pretend after that. I can just be me.
Absolutely. What a beautiful statement. You've been throwing bangers here. Perception becomes reality, and so true, Nandita. And we are responsible for creating the perception about ourselves, and it is engineered without the negativity or the ulterior motive associated. When I am being me and I have a plan ahead in terms of, hey, this is the image that I want out. And as you beautifully said, I can't have a different avatar online, and when they look at me, it's different. And in your case, the facets, when I read your book, I have a perception of Nandita. And I really want to go check who the person is. I go to your website, I check. And when I meet you, all three should meet at the same
Absolutely.
point. Otherwise, hey, am I speaking to someone else? And you
Yeah.
know,
So
my biggest
trust.
ground here. Hey, go ahead, Nandita.
Sorry, that's what I'm saying. Trust goes lower if you don't see a uh,
Oh, my
alignment.
biggest grouse here, because I read a lot of books. I read 60 to 70 books a year, and 30-40% are first timers. And my biggest, because you use the word trust, I politely tell them, this is not your voice, this is ChatGPT's voice I'm hearing. Rip it apart, use a pen and paper. I want to hear your voice. And this is the same example that when I read the book and there's no voice, then I have no perception of you. But I have met you and I read the book, it has to continue on to the book or to the video, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I love the way you gave the analogy of the chat GPT being used. There's nothing against using a chat GPT, but it
Yeah.
has to talk to you. It has to be your voice.
Well, it can amplify my image provided I know what my image has to be and
Has
who
to
am I.
be. Yeah, that is the biggest challenge most people have, Praveen, when I interact with them. They don't know what is the image that they want. And that is a bigger question that they need to answer, because getting it right after that is easy. You know, but what image you want is the most important thing. Yeah.
Now, this question, because you are into executive presence coaching, you interact with a lot of these leaders and founders. I would love if you could dwell on a story or an episode where something shifted in the image, a small disproportionate change that got a positive image or whatever they wanted. Any stories or episodes you can share, Nandita?
So I'll talk about one of my favorite things. So I was talking about image to one CIO of a large automotive company, and he said it doesn't work, and he said, oh, you charge people to tell them what to talk and how to wear. And I said, and we were having a conversation. He somewhere shrugged the whole idea. Now, this person was supposed to lead, his name was given for a position as an international CEO. Okay, so heading another vertical, overseas vertical, like moving in as an expat. And a couple of months down the line, I still saw him in India and I asked him what happened. And he said, you know what? They rejected my profile, but I've done so much for the company. I've got so much revenue. I've saved so much. And I asked him, I said, what did you do when you went for the interview? So he was being interviewed to become the CIO of the, this Japan part of the organization. Okay. Japanese are very, very particular about their attire, the colors that they wear. Right. Again, very cultural about it. So when he told me, he said, I wore a white shirt and a black trouser, jacket on it. One, you don't wear black and white when you do that because there is a huge contrast and it's an authoritarian color. So I was talking to him. I said, no, it doesn't make a difference. I said, okay, let's do one thing. You have a second chance for France. Why don't we do something? We work with you for 3 months and let's tell you how you can work about your image. It's not only about your clothes but also how you're projecting it, because again, if you have to stay in France, you have to do like the way French do, so you have to learn a couple of things that works well with them. We worked on a lot of aspects in his, more so in his thinking, because again, your image is directly related to the way you think.
Right.
I can dress up very well, but if the words that come out of my mouth don't again match, is a problem. And he did correct selected, and he became the CIO for the French part of the organization. So that for me is one story which I love talking about, because
Oh, and there's so much in image that is unsaid. The minute
yeah.
you look at it, I start forming an image. My subconscious starts judging. There's so much that
Yes.
happens all the way through. Before we move to the final question,
Yeah.
Nandita, I'd love for you to tell our audience about the books that you have written.
Okay, so I've written two books. One is on power dressing, and it is not only the Western way of power dressing. We've brought it down. The principles of power dressing have been adapted, and we've spoken about the Indian way of power dressing also. So you can still be very powerfully dressed in an Indian attire. And I love Praveen for that. The way he carries himself in an Indian attire and still looks so powerful, and his image matches. So that's what we've spoken about
Yes.
in the first book. The second book talks about how do you create a personal brand, and that is important no matter which, as what career you have. Even if you don't have a career and you want a career, your personal brand matters. So we've taken 26 aspects of personal branding, and we've written a book called A to Z of personal branding.
Ah, nice.
And for each one of them, we've written a story, we've told you action points. So it's, and with that, we've also given you a journal. So in case you are not a person who likes reading books, you can take a journal and start working on it. And in 52 weeks, your brand would improve. So we've given you action items in that. So those are the two books. The third one, Praveen, as you always said, there has to be a next version of dressology.
Yes.
So we have come up with dressology 2.0 under print, where we are giving you color combinations based on Indian skin. When you're traveling
Mm.
overseas, how to pack light, with all the airlines saying 15 kg is the cutoff and I need to travel for 20 days. How do I do my packaging? How do I actually create? All that is a part of the second book that is coming out. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Finishing off,
Yeah.
one action. If someone listening wants to stand out starting tomorrow morning, what is the one image related action they can take first? They can take in the next 60 seconds to 60 minutes. What would your recommendation be?
Get the three adjectives that you want people to say about you out first for yourself before you do anything else. So that will determine what image you want to create. Once that is set, it's easy.
Beautiful.
So write down three adjectives that you want people to say about you when you're not in the room. So that's the first step.
That's lovely. Darshini Shivakumar is asking, where can I find your books?
Amazon.
Ah, Nandita Pandey. Check it out. Check her website, and Amazon has her books. Thank you, Darshini. Right. Thank you, Vishal, Anita, and the whole bunch who put their comments in.
Thank you.
What I'm going to do now is one, of course, please follow Nandita Pandey. Thank you very much, Nandita. Really short
Pleasure.
notice, but you always say yes, and it's always lovely to talk about. The three adjectives, that's a 60-second exercise that Nandita has given you. The words that you want to be remembered, why that, the words that you want to plant as a seed in the brain of the people around you. And that is absolutely, absolutely important. That hard work is something that you would need to do. So take that one idea from today, test it this week. Notice how the changes in people, how what happens when they look at you, how they respond to you, how they speak about you even when you're not there in the room. All it takes is 60 seconds of clear thinking followed by action. Try it, let us know how it goes, and if you have a question or a tip related to standing out, or you want me to interview someone specific, write into outlier at pravinshekar.com. Nandita Pandey, always a pleasure. Thank you very much, and thank you all the folks in the audience.
Pleasure was mine. Thank you so much, Praveen.
Lovely.